start. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Perris Union High School District Regular Board Meeting of August 18, 2021. At this time, I want to call this meeting to order at 5:01 p.m. Prior to roll call, I would like to make clear for the record of this meeting, and it should be reflected in the minutes, that at least a portion of this board meeting is to be conducted pursuant to California Government Code Section 54953. In that board member, Anthony Stafford Sr. is out of the district. Board member Anthony Stafford Sr. is at 25563 Orion Court, Menifee, California 92586. Trustee Stafford is participating by speakerphone. In accordance with the Ralph Brown Act, the teleconference location has been identified in the notice and agenda for this meeting. I will conduct a roll call, after which I will confirm certain matters for the record. Trustee Vallejo?
Here.
Trustee Freeman?
Here.
Trustee Nellison?
Here.
Trustee Stafford?
Here.
And Trustee Araux here. I would like now to request that board member Stafford respond to the following questions. Board member Stafford, can you hear me well?
Yes, I can.
Thank you, sir. Were you able to hear our proceedings on this and up until now?
Yes.
Do you have a copy of the agenda for this meeting, sir?
Yes, I do.
Have you posted the agenda at the location where you are at?
Yes, it's been posted.
Thank you. Is your location reasonably accessible to the public such that any member of the public could participate in this teleconference from your location if he or she wished to do so?
Yes.
Thank you. Is there any member of the public there with you who would like to participate in the public comment portion of this meeting or otherwise address any agenda item for this meeting?
No.
Thank you. I would like now to ask that any member of the board speak up at this time if such board member has not been able to clearly hear board member Stafford. Hearing no comment, the record should reflect, I stop there. I would like to ask all the board members to speak up if you have clearly heard Trustee Stafford.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Okay. The record, hearing no comment, the record should reflect that all board members present have indicated that they were able to hear board member Stafford clearly. I would next request that any board member, including board member Stafford, speak up at this time if such board member has any reason to believe, based on voice recognition or otherwise, that the person representing himself to be board member Stafford is not truly so. Do you have any reason to believe that the person might not be Trustee Stafford? Okay. Hearing no comment, the record should reflect that no board member has expressed doubt that board member Stafford is the party participating by teleconference with board members present here. I would like now to advise all board members that any votes taken during the teleconference portion of this meeting must be taken by roll call. Okay. So our next item is 3.1, is the Pledge of Allegiance. If you can please stand. Place your right hand over your heart. Let's begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. See? Well, our next item also is an invocation, so I'm going to ask you to please apologize to stand up again. And I would like to ask for a moment of silence in memory of all the persons, all the community members who have been tragically affected by this pandemic during the last year and a half. Thank you. Please be seated. At this time, we are going to recess this regular board meeting of the Parish Union High School District to conduct the regular board meeting of the California Military Institute. This is a charter school. We are recessing this meeting at 5:07 p.m. and we are going to take about 8 minutes because on the agenda, the California Military Institute board meeting starts at 5:15. So we are going to recess this meeting at 5:07, and we are going to start the CMI at 5:15. Okay, thank you. Okay, it's 5:15, and at this time, I'm going to call the California Military Institute regular board meeting to order at 5:15 p.m. As indicated earlier in this meeting will be held as a teleconference meeting to include trustee staffer. I am going to ask for a roll call to determine a quorum. Trustee Vallejo?
Here.
Trustee Freeman?
Here.
Trustee Nellison?
Here.
Trustee Staffer?
Here.
And Trustee Arauz here. We have established a quorum. The next item is an action item. Revision and adoption ordering of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Trustee Nellison? Trustee Vallejo? Now we are going to vote. Trustee Vallejo?
Aye.
Trustee Freeman?
Aye.
Trustee Nellison?
Aye.
Trustee Staffer?
Aye.
And Trustee Arauz, aye. Now, please, let's vote electronically. And upon a roll call being taken, this action item has been approved 5-0. The next item is an oral report. First, our CMITA president, Mr. Mitchell Osborne. Is he here, Mr.?
I don't see Mr. Osborne here this evening.
No? No recorded message?
No.
Either? Okay, very good, thank you. Item 4.2, principals update.
Good to see you. Good evening. Thank you. Good evening, President, RO, board members, Superintendent Bennett, and Cabinet. It is great to see all of you in person once again after 18 months. Even though we have all enjoyed Zoom meetings, I think this is much, much better. Thank you, Joe. It gives me great pleasure to report to you that CMI has had an outstanding start to the school year once again. Successful start was a result of incredible teamwork on side of our outstanding support that we received from our superintendent, our cabinet, and district support staff, who all worked very diligently to ensure that we had everything that we truly needed. We're fully staffed, and our enrollment is approaching maximum capacity once again. Of course, the new gym is a source of pride for our students and our staff, and the newly remodeled restrooms, of course, for both middle and high school are fully operational and quite modern. Our teachers are excited to be back in the halls, and classrooms are yet again buzzing with excitement and anticipation. Students are wearing bright, shiny new uniforms and boots, and morning formation is once again a place where we salute the flag and come together as a family. We are continuing to provide many different opportunities for students to find success at CMI. We are retaining our offerings of AP courses, college dual enrollment courses. Very excited about our continuing engineering pathway, a biomedical pathway for our students, as well as, of course, our famous JROTC pathway. I will simply close by quoting the words of a fifth grader, Naomi, who I talked to recently, who told me today, "Dr. M, it's so cool to be back at school again." And I could not agree more with Naomi. It is indeed very, very cool to be back again. Thank you each for your continued support of CMI, and I look forward to a wonderful and exciting year with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Our next item is 5.1, invitation to address the Board of Trustees on non-agendized items. Do we have any comments?
There are no comments for
No
CMI.
comments. Thank you, Mr. Bennett. The next item is the consent calendar, is an action item. Do I have a motion to approve the items listed under the consent calendar?
So moved.
Trustee Nelson?
Second.
Trustee Dr. Freeman, second. Now, let's vote electronically, please. Before we vote electronically, we are going to vote in person, right? Trustee Vallejo?
Aye.
Trustee Dr. Freeman?
Aye.
Trustee Nelson?
Aye.
Trustee Stafford?
Aye.
And Trustee Araux, aye. Now we are going to vote electronically. And upon a roll call vote being taken, this action item is approved 5-0. The next item, 7.1, is also an action item, personnel, certificated personnel action items. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Trustee Dr. Freeman and Trustee Nelson. Now we are going to vote. Trustee Vallejo?
Aye.
Trustee Freeman?
Aye.
Trustee Nelson?
Aye.
Trustee Stafford?
Aye.
And Trustee Araux, aye. Let's proceed to vote electronically. And upon a roll call vote being taken, the vote was 5-0. The next item, 7.2, is also a personnel item, classified personnel action items. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Trustee Nelson? Second. Trustee Vallejo? Now we are going to proceed to vote. Trustee Vallejo?
Aye.
Trustee Dr. Freeman?
Aye.
Trustee Nelson?
Aye.
Trustee Stafford?
Aye.
And Trustee Araux, aye. Let's proceed to vote electronically. And upon a roll call being taken, the vote was 5-0. 7.3 is also a personnel action item, new job description and authorization to recruit paraeducator general education. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Dr. Freeman and Trustee Nelson. Are there any questions or comments before we vote? Okay, let's proceed to vote. Trustee Vallejo? Aye. Trustee Dr. Freeman?
Aye.
Trustee Nelson?
Aye.
Trustee Stafford?
Aye.
And Trustee Araux, aye. Let's proceed to vote electronically. And upon a roll call vote being taken, the vote was 5-0. Okay, 8.1 is other items by our superintendent, Mr. Grant Bennett.
Just a couple things. I was over at CMI yesterday, got to walk the campus with Dr. Milos. The gym looks awesome. It's really, they did a great job on that. Having new locker rooms for the kids also is a great improvement. And seeing that they tore out the old locker rooms and now we've moved those portables back there, it really gives the campus a quad-like feel instead of being spread out. And they're going to be completing that parking lot that'll go where the old portables were, so that'll be coming up soon. So looks really good. And that's all I have for this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Bennett. The next item is other comments by our Board of Trustees. Trustee Vallejo?
Hi, everyone. So Mr. Bennett did take me to the CMI tour. It was probably the first time. I don't think I've ever been there before, and it's actually really, really nice. I'm very excited for the gym. Gym looks very amazing. I actually really did like it. So I can't wait till kids go back for the games. That's going to be very exciting. And I am just like Naomi. I am very excited for the kids to come back because I really want to see students like engage socially and educationally, and I'm just very excited too. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Vallejo. Trustee Nelson?
Thank you, Dr. Rouse. I just wanted to say I'm really excited to see that campus as well, all the addition of the gym and the feel of the campus with kids back on campus. I really want to see that, so I'm going to make it a point to get, as long as we're allowed to, with COVID, you never know. But as long as I'm allowed to, I want to tour every campus here again, just to see how things are going. So I'm hoping to do that next month if I can. So thank you. That's it for me.
You're allowed to.
Oh, I'm allowed to. Thank you. I'm glad. I feel so special now.
Thank you, Trustee Nelson. Trustee Dr. Freeman?
Thank you. I happened to be in the neighborhood last Thursday. I was substituting at the other charter school down the street. And with everybody getting out at the same time, it looked like Times Square on New Year's Eve. But it worked between your CMI and the other charter school. Everything was just, it was beautiful. I thought for sure it was going to be a mess. But I was very pleasantly surprised to find out how well the two administrators managed to get this thing done without everybody looking like they were going to get stuck there for a couple hours.
Thank you, Trustee Dr. Freeman. Trustee Stafford?
I would just like to say welcome back, and I want to get over to CMI and have a look at the site. I'll be there as soon as I can. In the interest of safety, we'll just have to wait another week or so. So glad to be back, and have a great school year.
Thank you, Trustee Stafford. And I just want to add and say, first of all, thank you to all the staff at CMI, administration and teachers and classified for all their support and their commitment to our students during the last 15 months, we can say, or year and a half, right? Providing that support to our students through the distance learning process. I want to welcome all of you back also to our new school year. And I know that we are going to have a wonderful year under your leadership and knowing the commitment of all of our staff members. I want to welcome the students. I know that they do great academically, and I'm really happy to see that now they're receiving facilities, really nice facilities, the kind of facilities that they deserve. And I want to say thank you to the support to the parents for their patience, their understanding with all the challenges that we had lately. So we really appreciate all of their support and working together with us. Okay. So now the last item, 10.1, is adjournment. We are going to adjourn the regular board meeting of the California Military Institute. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Trustee Nelson? And Trustee Vallejo. We are going to take a vote. Trustee Vallejo?
Aye.
Trustee Nelson?
Aye.
Trustee Dr. Freeman?
Aye.
Trustee Stafford?
Aye.
And Trustee Araux, aye. This meeting of the California Military Institute is adjourned at 5:27 p.m. We are going to reconvene to the regular board meeting, but we need to wait for a few seconds, probably 55 seconds. Rejoin the regular. Is everybody in the regular already, Ms. Señorita Festa? Yes. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, we are going to reconvene the regular board meeting of the Parish Union High School District at 5:28 p.m. And our next item on the agenda is 6.1, revision, adopting, and ordering of the agenda for today, August 18, 2021. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Trustee Dr. Freeman? Second. Trustee Vallejo? Second. So we are going to take a roll call. Trustee Vallejo?
Aye.
Trustee Dr. Freeman?
Aye.
Trustee Nellison? Aye. Trustee Stafford?
Aye.
And Trustee Arauz, aye. So please, let's vote electronically. And upon a roll call vote being taken, the vote was 5-0. Next, item 7.1, report out of closed session.
We have no report out of closed session for this evening.
Thank you, sir. District update by the superintendent is next, item 7.2. Mr. Bennett.
Thank you, Dr. Rouse. Well, I have a few things I want to talk about, but we'll start out with the start of school. You know, I think everything started out really well. We had some challenges, but we worked on them. We saw where the holes were, and we made improvements each time. So I really want to thank the M&O crew and all the other administrators have been out at school sites to help with some of the issues in parking and traffic. So that's been a little bit of a challenge, but we're moving forward, and it's better now at each of the schools. I'm just going to touch on, Paris High has construction going on in the front of the campus. They have another one near the football field, and they have an egg mechanics building going out back. So they have a lot of work going on that campus right now. I think they've been under construction for about 10 years now. But it's going to be beautiful. This time next year, it's going to be beautiful. Paloma Valley, they started construction of the pool. They moved the portables during the summer that they had to be relocated, and I think they started digging the hole already. But it's coming along. It's great to see that happening. We had promised the public that way back in 2012, and we're going to make good on our promise. The public library at Paloma Valley and at Heritage both moved out. They built a couple new libraries in the area, so they moved into their own facilities so they can control their own destiny there. So we'll be having some new things going into our libraries also. Well, Paloma Valley has a whole building that it was a public library. It was never part of the school really, so they're gaining some square footage, which eventually is going to turn into the main office and some counseling center and stuff like that in there. So we're excited about that. No real construction going on at Heritage right now. They're moving some stuff around, getting ready to start digging for the pool, but nothing happening right there yet. Paris Lake High School, they're doing some remodels for CTE programs. They're going to have video productions over there. They're going to have culinary program over there. And they're also remodeling some of the offices for the adult ed and SOLA. Pinacate, for the first time, has no construction going on over there. They're just having the kids there. That's great. We talked about CMI, the gym being finished, the relocating the portables, new parking. And Dr. Milos talked about the restrooms. The restrooms for the students on that campus had never been updated since the school was built. So that was in the 1950s. So now it looks great. They put in kind of like the subway tile look in there. And I went in there yesterday with Dr. Milos, and it's great to see. So parents had made some complaints about that in the last couple of years, and we're glad we're able to make that improvement for them. Liberty High School, we still have parts to complete there, but we're in the school and it's open, and the kids are having a great time over there. By January, we'll be basically done over there, and everything will be up and going. So we're keeping our fingers crossed. We don't have a lot of weather right now. We got delayed a lot with COVID over at Liberty because we had the whole masonry crew have to go out on COVID for 2 weeks. That pushed other people back, and then we had a delay of steel from China, pushed everybody back. So it was like the perfect storm on things like that. But they're persevering. The day before school started, they poured 200 feet of concrete on the campus. But it's great. We're looking at doing the dedication for the CMI gym on Monday, August 23rd at 2 o'clock. So if any of you could make it there, I know it's tough because it's part in the work day, but we want to do it when the kids are still at school.
September, it's a Wednesday.
Did we move it again?
No.
September 29th?
September 29th, yeah.
Oh, I had it on my calendar for next week. Okay. Okay, I'm sorry.
At least,
with her date.
at least,
Yeah, I'll go with-
at least to be there on time.
Hector and I need to leave if that's the case.
Okay. So we'll see. We'll get a notice out to you. It's going to be more near the end of September.
What time do you say?
2.
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock? Okay.
But we'll send a calendar invite out for you. Sorry about that. Thank you, Candace. So another challenge we've had, and all districts are having the same challenge. We have a shortage of guest teachers, a shortage of substitute custodians, substitute campus supervisors, sub-para professionals, sub-NSAs across the board. We've had a job out, and Kirk had it out for a couple weeks, and we have like one person applying for it. So that's been a struggle, but it's no fault of anybody, just that people aren't coming back right now, and a lot of them are making more money staying home and getting the bonus than having to come to work. So, but we're going to continue to work at it and keep trying to hire the best people we possibly can. We had our summer school graduation on July 23rd over at Heritage. I think we had about 25 kids that walked during that time, so that was good. The parents were excited, and it was a good show. On July 30th, we had new teacher orientation. We didn't get to have one last year because of the COVID, so it was great to see all the new teachers. We had about 30, Kirk, is that right? About 30 new teachers. So it was great to see them. I took them on my bus tour of the district. We went to the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's important for them to see where our kids are coming from. Our social workers have started. We've hired a bunch of them, and we have some stationed at each school, and we have a district-wide one to work on that social emotional for the kids. You know, it's been a rough time the last year and a half, and to try to reach out to them and help them get back into the school feel and feel safe being there. I've been out on the campus, and it's great to see the kids so excited about being at school. You know, in the past, you'd see kids and they'd be kind of, oh, school started. Now they were chomping at the bit. I think they were ready to break down the gate to get back in. And we're really working on following our district mission statement. I want to share that with everybody just so you know where we're coming from. The mission of the Parish Union High School District is to create high-quality, relevant learning opportunities for all in a safe and caring environment. We will develop a high-quality, caring staff who will be dedicated to learning and connect students to their education and potential goals. We will care for all students while developing a growth mindset through collaboration, creativity, communication, and critical thinking. That's the mission statement for the district. And if you think about through this COVID thing, a lot of our statements in our mission statement talk about caring. And that's what we want to make sure we're still pushing is we need to care for our kids, we need to keep them safe, and we need to give them the best education possible. With that, you know, there's some things that we're having to deal with. You know, we take direction from the California Department of Public Health, the CDC, the Riverside County Public Health, OSHA, for all the things that we have to do with both physical distancing, masking, barriers, all things COVID. We work with these other organizations to give us the direction that I just want to share that the school board and administration do not set these guidelines, but we do follow their guidance, and they're the experts in this field, so we're going to follow what they tell us to do to keep our kids safe and our staff safe. We've had 7 vaccination clinics in the district, and we're ready to start a series of them at many of our school sites in the district for students and for staff, and eventually will be open for public also, I believe, if we have open spots. Is that right, Candace?
Yeah, if we can get it passed after school hours.
Yeah. So we're working again to have those coming up real soon here, and that would conclude my report for this evening. Any questions?
I just have one question,
Yes,
and
sir.
I want any comment. Thank you for the mission statement. I think that reflects what we are here for. Just a comment with all the respect for the ones who developed the mission statement. If you could please do me a favor and double check, because it is my understanding that the mission statement is, like the word said, our mission, what we are doing, right, at this time. And we don't use the will, because that is, I notice that is the future, that we are going to do that in the future. We care about our students. It is my understanding, but double check it, please. I just don't want you to print it and put it everywhere and then, oh, we need to make that small change. The vision is what is going to happen in the future, in 5 or 10 years. This is what we are aiming at, but the mission is what we do. So it is in present test. Just that thing.
Yeah, thank you.
But once again, my recommendation is if you could please check and confirm that that is the case,
Okay.
if I remember correctly.
Very good. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you. Okay.
Brant?
Yes.
I was trying to get your attention. I have a couple of questions. One is on the sub situation. Have we done anything in addition to try to correct that? And is this because we've switched to this new system of Spark Hire that I didn't agree with, but is that any result of that?
No, we're flying the jobs like we normally have. We do. We put them on. We put it out on EdJoin, where about every district in the county uses to attract their employees. It's just getting people that want to come and do those jobs during substitute. Spark Hire doesn't come into play until after they've already filled out the application. The application's still done. It's done on Talented Ed now, but it's all basically the same process. I think Kirk had a response for you too.
Yeah,
Okay.
so as Mr. Bennett had shared, Mr. Stafford and the rest of the board, what we're experiencing in terms of subs is not dissimilar from what all of our neighboring school districts are dealing with. In fact, what anyone that's trying to employ anyone is dealing with right now. We're seeing, you know, you may have seen on the news recently that the recent job reports had over 10 million positions that were going unfilled nationwide. And that's what we're seeing around us. In fact, I was looking at a neighboring school district just yesterday. I was talking to one of the people there, and they actually have 15 pages worth of openings on EdJoin right now. Not 15 openings, 15 pages worth of openings within their district.
Okay.
It's something that's happening throughout the county, throughout the state, throughout the nation.
Well, what I worry about is we're not able to meet our commitment as to sanitizing the classrooms, the desks, and the areas that we committed to. I know we committed to even bringing on extras, but we can't even get up to a regular staffing at this point. From what I'm hearing, we're having some really serious problems, and there's no easy solution, but no solution is not the answer. So we have to look at it seriously and do something about it rather than say, okay, it's not this, it's not that. We've never had this situation before. We've never had COVID, but we need those schools clean. We need those desks clean. When the teachers say, hey, my room hasn't been cleaned, my desk hasn't been wiped, that's a serious situation. And we made a commitment that we would do it, and we're not meeting our commitment. So we have to at least take some additional steps. I still believe that, you know, we talked about this Spark Hire thing. I don't like it. I think that you're not going to get the employees that you want by that process. And, you know, people aren't looking for temporary jobs per se, but they really will take the jobs if they're made to feel that they can perform them and be successful at it. It's hard to describe. You're going to get people with this system that don't need to be in that position. And you're Xing out the people that really probably want to be in the system because you're making it more difficult. And that's just my feeling about it. So the shortage exists, so we can't turn our head to that. And I would implore you not to, because that is one of the major issues that we have with this COVID crisis.
Right. We're discussing other options that we have, how we can use some people a little differently to be able to do what we promised that we would do. So we are looking to make some switches to address that.
Okay. I just don't want us to blow by it and not take it seriously.
No, we're taking it seriously also.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you, Trustee Stafford. Any other comments or questions? No? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Bennett. Our next item, 7.3, PSEA President, Mr. Jason Miller.
Jason sent me an email just before the board meeting started and said he had a family issue come up that he had to take care of and wasn't going to be able to make it this evening.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Bennett. 7.4, CSEA President, Mr. Josh Rushing.
I don't see Josh here.
No. Do we have any message from him, video or written?
No.
No? Okay. Thank you. 7.5, other comments by the Board of Trustees. Trustee Vallejo.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President. Hello, everyone. So this is my first in-person meeting, so it's pretty exciting. I do like it. It's nice. I'm very excited for school to start, or that it has started. I know that summer school was a success, and all the students that graduated this summer, I'm very proud of them. It's great to see them graduating after everything that has been going on. And I'm very excited for the future too. I really hope the future turns out better. And then I don't want to close. I don't want students to go back in online classes. But I do have trust in this district, and they always keep up to date on their protocols, on their safety protocols. So I'm very excited for all the students that are in today, and also for the staffing as well. I do see many nutritional service workers. They're out there. They're serving all the foods and all the custodians cleaning all the time. I really appreciate staff, admin as well. Just going back to teaching, I'm just very honored that we're kind of going back to normal, going to the way that we've always wanted. And I also can't wait to what the future holds to see what I can bring to this board too. There are many implementations that I want to give for this district, and I'm just very honored to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Trustee Vallejo. Trustee Nelson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would just like to say that welcome back, everybody, for the beginning of the school year. I know we've already got a couple weeks under our belts, but I'm really proud of the way this district has dealt with everything over the last year and a half. It's been a tough road for all of us, and to see us open a brand new school in a pandemic, and to see all of our students back on campuses and everything, even though the campus is not complete, we've had to deal with delay after delay especially mostly the COVID-related delays. For us to have a location for the students to show up on the first day of school was outstanding. I took my daughter to school there. The traffic was crazy, but it has been getting better as we're going, and that's always a good thing. I know we have some traffic lights that need to go up and everything, wiring needs to get in and stuff like that, but I mean, we have a list. Candace is over here nodding her head. Yeah, we have a list.
Finally, they're ready to start that.
Good. I'm glad to see that. And I also saw that the widening of Scott Road there at Leon is coming along too. So that's a good thing as well. Got a chance to take a tour there today just to see how things were progressing with the students on campus, and it's interesting, but it's good to see. And like I said before, I want to see all the campuses over the next month or two. So it'll be good to see everybody on those campuses as well. Thank you, all the teachers, all the staff, everybody for everything they've done and are doing currently to help get our students educated and give them a safe place to go for education, and nutrition services, making sure they're fed, all that good stuff. I can go on, but I'm just going to say blanket, thank you for everybody for what you guys are doing for the district, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Nelson. Trustee Dr. Freeman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to echo Mr. Nellison's gratitude, right? Basically, I'm very proud of the way that the members of the staff and the students have handled this situation. Like he said, building a high school in the middle of a pandemic is just amazing. An example was I had the opportunity, and I got to enjoy the summer school graduation. The number of students may have seemed not very many, but when you think about it, they had gone beyond when their peers were actually graduating, and they each got to graduate in the cap and gown of their school colors. And their principal or representative of their school presented their diploma to them, and I thought that made it very special. And I was very proud of those students and the people involved with that. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Dr. Freeman. Trustee Stauffer.
I'd just like to say welcome back, and I'm sure everybody has worked really hard to get back. It's really a tough thing to do, and they've come out really well. And thank you for all the work that you did over the summer and keeping the kids going. There's a lot of issues still on the burner, but we'll get to those. And just enjoy school, have the kids enjoy school, and I'm really happy that they were able to return. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Stauffer. I just want to welcome everybody back to this 21-22 school year, similar to our my fellow trustee members mentioned. I want to say thank you again to, first of all, to Cabinet, all the Cabinet members, the administrators, site administrators and district administrators, our teachers, all of our staff, classified members for the wonderful service that you provided to our students in the last year and a half. We have a lot of challenges, and you were there for them, and that is really important. We really appreciate that. To the parents also, thank you for their support, their commitment, and their understanding to work with us, right? To different elements and different perspectives that we had during the last year and a half, but we respected each other, and that's the bottom line, right? That we have the opportunity to express our points of view, we listen, and we respect that. I'm really happy to see the improvements that we are having on facilities. The Liberty High School also, thank you to all the process, everybody involved in the construction of this wonderful high school. Also the other improvements that we are having at Perry's High School, Paloma Valley, finally, right, after 9 years, I hear a lot of comments from community members about the pool that you promised since 2014 that I started here, and I'm sure Mr. Nellison a few years before, right? Yeah. And so finally we can say that we are very proud to see that. I want to express also, say thank you to the board members for all your support to do what is right in the best interest of the students, and for the support for all the improvements for our students, because they are getting wonderful facilities, and I think those are the facilities that they deserve. You can see Pinacate, you can see the big difference, right? Patriot High School, our new high school, Liberty, and improvements at Paloma. So thank you for the wonderful job that you have been doing. During this 21-22 school year, we are going to have challenges, but that I would like to call them better opportunities. Opportunities to make the difference in our students, and I know that all of you are going to be there for our students. There is the identified need of providing a social, emotional support. There's going to be a great need. We talked about it last year, and I see that we are getting ready, right? And we are ready with interns and to provide that support, because it is really, really important. That is going to make a big difference for our students. And thank you to the board for supporting that effort, and for supporting our academic focus on addressing the learning gap. I know that you are working really hard on developing systems to really address the learning gap, because we know that last year it was not 100%. So we cannot say that our students learn, and it's very understandable, right? It's very understandable. Everybody did their best. However, there's a learning gap, and that is something that we recognize. Thank you to my colleague board members for supporting the focus on addressing data and identifying the strengths that we have. Identifying the strengths and identifying the challenges also, and identifying how we are going to address those challenges. That is really important for me, because you have been very supportive about data and analyzing. The most important thing is the desegregation of the data. How our different groups, our different demographics are performing, and what is the district doing in order to address Hispanic, African American, the traditionally low performing, because that's the data, we are going to recognize it, right? There's the opportunity to do better, and our district has been focusing on doing better. And we have seen in the last few years, even before the pandemic, how the academic of our students has improved tremendously in all areas. A through E completion, high school graduation requirements, FAFSA completion. So I think that is great. But this one is thank you to the support of all of you. So I really, really appreciate that. And lastly, you have been very supportive, and once in a while we have some discrepancies, right? And that is normal, and I respect that, right? I respect your opinion, but I'm really glad that our legislators through AB 104, one of that discrepancy was last year when we didn't agree in terms of the high school graduation requirements for our students, right? So the board approved 3-2 to our students to graduate with 165, I believe, 185, yes. And there was a proposal to consider the California high school graduation requirements of 130? Yes. Of 130, yeah. Again, with all respect, that was not approved, but I'm glad that our legislators through AB 104, they approved that, and our students, most vulnerable students who didn't have the opportunity to meet the 180, they can graduate with retroactive effect and get their high school diploma. Do we have an idea, roughly, Mr. Ruff, of how many students are benefiting from AB 104?
I'm going to turn to zero.
Yeah, and if you don't know it, not a problem. We can talk about that, but I'm just wondering, excited to see
So
that.
as far as the grade change portion of AB 104, we've had over 1,000 submissions for grade changes.
Okay,
So we're quite busy in the registrar's office making those changes.
yes,
And then today's presentation, when we talk about summer school, you'll get a breakdown of actually the different students that graduated with 130, 185, and
Oh, okay.
225.
excellent,
This is in
excellent.
response to a request I think you made in the June meeting, and you wanted to come back and do it.
Yeah, okay,
We have a whole presentation, that's why I was smiling.
uh-huh, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I'm really glad that we have a high number of students requesting the grade change, because definitely that is going to benefit them to graduate, and for the A through E also. The grade change, just to give an idea, probably you already know that, right? That is students who get a D through A, they can request that to be changed to a pass grade. Pass or no pass. Yeah, the F, pass or no pass, right? We cannot request an F to a pass. Instead of the F, is a no pass grade. And usually D's, right? That's what it would be. And students that are borderline for some reason, and that is very understandable. So thank you to our legislators, right, that they authorize that. And the best part is going to affect the last 2 years, right? Even the one before, 1920, 2021. Yeah, the ones who were. The grade change, yes, yeah. Yes, you're right, the fall and the spring for last year, but the high school graduation requirements is for the last 2. And this year's seniors, excellent. So I just wanted to make that comment that I'm really happy. We are here for the students, and our legislators provided that opportunity. So, okay, so that's all I have on my comments. Thank you for listening. Our next item is invitation to address the Board of Trustees on non-agendized items. And we have
two cards, Dr.
two
Rouse.
cards, 2 public comments. Here, I'm going to read what I have written here in terms of public comments. Individual speakers shall be allowed 3 minutes to address the board on each agenda or non-agenda item. The board shall limit the total time for public input on each item to 20 minutes. With board consent, the president may increase or decrease the time allowed for public presentation, depending on the topic and the number of persons wishing to be heard. In addition, the president may take a poll of speakers for or against a particular issue and may ask that the additional persons speak only if they have something new to add. So at this time, we have 2 public comments, and one of them, the first speaker, Ms. Cindy Lopez.
Muy buenas tardes a todos ustedes. Les vengo a dar las gracias, para empezar, lo más importante, por todos los cambios que el distrito ha hecho últimamente en nuestra comunidad, desde la escuela de Perris, Paloma y CMI y todas las que han mencionado, porque al igual que la ciudad también hemos crecido muy rápidamente. Vengo porque Estoy sintiendo como padre de familia temor, como muchos que estamos aquí, porque tienen hijos en este distrito, y estoy viendo la seguridad que se le da diferente a los niños que pertenecen al distrito de Perris y a los que pertenecen a una escuela charter. Siento que yo soy mamá de unos niños de CMI, siento que no tenemos los mismos, le podría decir, como mascarillas en los salones de clases o estaciones en lugares estratégicos como el lugar de lonche para hand sanitizer, porque ya ve que muchos niños que escriben que la hoja, que la mochila, que todo eso se cambian del PI y llegan a comer el lonche y muchos no tienen hand sanitizer disponible. Si pudieran poner algo así en cada lugar de lonche para los niños sería muy bueno. Otra cosa que para mí no estoy muy feliz es porque muchos maestros en mi escuela no están utilizando, algunos maestros, no todos, no quiero generalizar, la mascarilla dentro del salón de clases y la justificación es que ya están vacunados. Como vacunados, dice el CDC, que es verdad que no se pueden contagiar o a lo mejor no se pueden enfermar tan grave, pero sí son focos de contagio para los niños. Entonces, sí me gustaría que se les exigiera a los maestros dentro de clase tener la mascarilla puesta, al igual que a los estudiantes.
Cindy, ¿me permite hacer una
claro que sí.
recomendación con todo respeto? Es fuera del protocolo interrumpir a un speaker, interrumpirlo. Lo estoy haciendo nada más para hablar sobre algo muy importante.
Sí.
Sus comentarios son muy importantes y quisiera yo que ellos los escucharan a la vez de como usted lo está haciendo. No había arreglos para un traductor porque no sabíamos que usted...
Perdón.
No, discúlpenos a nosotros, ¿verdad? Porque nosotros deberíamos de tener un traductor aquí. Déjeme hablar con el superintendente a ver cómo nos ponemos... Aquí habemos personas que somos bilingües y le podemos traducir, pero lo que usted está diciendo es tan importante y me da tanto gusto que esté usted aquí hablando. Es la primera vez que recuerdo yo en todos mis años aquí que tengo una persona que viene a hablar con nosotros, representando en español. Entonces, si me permite, ¿está usted de acuerdo? Y me
Claro que
disculpa que la haya interrumpido.
No, claro que sí.
Okay,
Y gracias por su ayuda.
Permítame, déjeme platicar, decirle a él y a ver cómo lo solucionamos. Mr. Bennett, I took the liberty to interrupt Cindy, and I apologize to her. This is not normal protocol that we interrupt a speaker, but I thought that I needed to do it because this is so important what she is saying that I would like all of the board members and you and cabinet members to know what she's saying at the time, right? Because it's going to be different if we translate what she's telling you later on at the same time, kind of she can speak and then what do you suggest for somebody to translate? We are several bilingual people here, but I would defer to you to see how would you like to handle this element. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I respectfully not completely agree with you. I think I want Cindy's comments to be heard by all of us now. Yeah, I'm just asking who would you like to translate? What do you think?
That we utilize your services as a translator to relay her comments to us so we can all understand what her comments are about?
Absolutely. If that is okay
I would be perfectly fine with you having you as a
Is that
translator
okay
for
with
this.
the
I
other
agree
board
with that,
members?
yes.
Okay. Oh, yes, I didn't want to nominate myself, you know, but yeah, exactly, yeah.
I'm perfectly fine with
I'm glad that Trustee Nellison mentioned that. Okay. Señora, le expliqué al superintendente y él mencionó la posibilidad de que viniera el mes que entra y que tuviéramos traductor y le dije que no, que yo quiero que sus comentarios se hagan ahorita mismo, ¿verdad? Trustee, el miembro de esta junta, recomendó que si yo quería ser el traductor, yo con mucho gusto puedo traducir. Voy a traducir lo que recuerdo hasta ahorita de lo que usted ha dicho, ¿verdad? Al principio usted mencionó de darle las gracias de cómo lo están haciendo. Voy a hacer un sumario, ¿verdad?
Sí.
Y si algo se me olvida, usted me dice, se te olvidó esto, ¿ok?
¿Quiere? Le vuelvo a repetir y usted lo va traduciendo.
¿Está bien con usted?
Está perfecto.
Ok, un párrafo y luego yo lo traduzco. Ok, muy bien.
Ok.
We are going to start all over again.
She's okay with you.
She's okay. ¿Está usted de acuerdo en que yo lo traduzca?
Sí, está muy bien.
Ok,
Gracias.
ándale pues. Ok, adelante.
Como número uno, vengo a agradecer la ayuda que le han dado a nuestra comunidad, porque ha crecido cada parte de nuestras escuelas, desde Paloma, Perris High, el CMI, no han dejado ninguna escuela sin crecer. A lo mismo que va creciendo esta ciudad, el distrito también se ha encargado de que las escuelas crezcan y se modernicen.
Muy bien. Primeramente quiero darle las... First of all, I want to say thank you to all of you for the support to all of the schools, because you have, in the same way that the city has been growing, also the schools, Paloma Valley and all the schools, and everything that is happening in the city is being reflected at the schools.
Okay. Una de las cosas por las que estoy aquí es por lo que está pasando con la pandemia. Estoy viendo un poco de diferencia entre el trato que se le da o los recursos que tiene una escuela que pertenece al distrito de Perris completamente a una escuela charter.
Okay, permítame. I'm here tonight because I would like to talk about how you are handling the situation of the pandemic of COVID-19, and it seems to me the resources, there is a difference between the resources that you are providing to a charter school than to the regular schools.
Okay, uno de los ejemplos es que nuestra escuela no tiene muchos lugares como para proveer el hand sanitizer, porque nuestros estudiantes son estudiantes de uniforme militar, son de CMI, usan botas, se tienen que cambiar para PI, todo eso, y después tienen que ir a comer en ocasiones y no todos los niños traen un hand sanitizer para poder tomar los alimentos. Y no sirve de nada traer todo el día la mascarilla si no tienen esa facilidad.
Okay. One of her concerns, according to Cindy, is that there are not enough hand sanitizers, and she's talking about CMI. Right? Her son is at CMI, they have a uniform, they wear boots, and so she is considering it doesn't make too much sense to have the masks every day with them, but if there are no hand sanitizers, right, they are not provided to them, how that is going to help with the pandemic, or how is going to help with this issue that we are facing.
Cuando toman sus alimentos.
¿Dónde?
A la hora de tomar sus alimentos, sobre todo.
First of all, and most importantly, at the time that they are taking their food, their lunch, right? If their hands, they don't have the hand sanitizer, that is a big concern for her, for Cindy.
Otra de las cosas que también les quería comentar es que algunos maestros en la escuela en la que mis hijos asisten no están usando la mascarilla y dentro del salón de clases.
Okay. Another thing that I want to make you aware is that some of the teachers in the school that my son is attending, and you're talking, esto está hablando de CMI, ¿verdad?
Sí.
That they are attending CMI, some of the teachers, they are not wearing their masks. Yeah.
Dentro del salón de clases, y la cuestión es porque dicen que porque ellos están vacunados.
Okay. And they are not wearing their masks inside of the classroom. And they are saying that is because they are vaccinated. That's why they are not wearing their masks.
Y según lo que nos dice el CDC es que probablemente como ellos están vacunados no se enfermen de gravedad, pero siguen siendo transmisores de la enfermedad.
And according to my understanding from the CDC, somebody who is vaccinated might not get the symptoms or infected, but they can transmit the virus.
Necesitamos también que nos ayuden con cosas básicas para los salones, para cada salón de clase, como es unas cajas de mascarillas y hand sanitizer en cada salón de clases. Yo sé que ustedes tienen los recursos y acudo a ustedes y al superintendente Bennett porque yo anteriormente en otros casos también lo he expuesto mis situaciones y él siempre ha escuchado.
Okay. I'm asking this board to ensure that every classroom has masks available for the students as well as hand sanitizers. And I'm making this request because I know that in the past when I present a request, including the superintendent, I had been heard and my concerns had been addressed.
También acudo a ustedes como un papá preocupado. Ustedes saben que existen las redes sociales por la que todos los padres nos comunicamos, que es más fácil que se puedan esparcir rumores y se puedan esparcir mitos. Necesitamos que ustedes nos den una página o un lugar específico donde nosotros nos podamos informar de lo que está pasando con la enfermedad dentro del distrito.
Okay. I'm also requesting and coming to you to ask to be provided with a part or a link in your website, because as you know, through social media, there are rumors and information or misinformation, something that is not true, right? So we want to know exactly what is happening. Y usted quiere la idea en general, ¿verdad?
Ajá, como si está pasando algo en nuestro distrito, en esta escuela, o para que los padres no vuele su imaginación y digan, tengo miedo, quiero sacar a mi hijo y contagien el miedo a otros padres.
So that is on the website of the school or the district where you provide that information and we get the information directly from you, not through rumors or through other people. ¿Usted está hablando sobre cosas sobre lo que quiere en el website relacionado con el COVID?
Con COVID,
Just COVID. That way, parents, they cannot imagine things based on rumors, and they can eventually say, oh, I'm going to pull my son or my daughter out of the school because they are saying that this is happening. So she wants to have something on social media, on the website, with the facts and information from this school and at the district level.
Ya, eso sería les agradecería mucho algo así, una información directamente de esa situación del distrito para los padres. Si fuera mejor en cada escuela específico, sería bueno que cada escuela diera un reporte, porque no es lo mismo que pasa en Perris High que lo que pasa en CMI o lo que pasa en Paloma.
I would really appreciate if we can get a report of exactly what is happening on the specific school, so the parents, we know what's going on in that school. Because it's not the same what happens at Paloma Valley, what happens at CMI, or any other school. So there are different things, and that way we are informed.
Mi hija estuvo aquí hace unos minutos y se tuvo que retirar porque tenía tarea, pero ella también les quería agradecer porque sí es cierto que a los estudiantes no les gusta ir a la escuela y hacer tareas y levantarse temprano, me puso, pero están agradecidos porque están felices porque vieron a sus compañeros.
My daughter was here a few minutes ago. She has to leave because she's going to be doing her homework, but she wanted to share with you that she really appreciates that they are back at school. And even though some students, they don't like to be in school, but they are really happy this time to be back. And her daughter wanted to tell us that she appreciates that.
Y me pongo a su disposición como padre de familia para cualquier cosa que necesiten y agradezco su tiempo.
Anything that you need, I'm here for anything that I can help, and I really appreciate your time.
Gracias.
Gracias, señora Cindy. Our next public comment is from Mati Quintana.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Matilde Quintana y tengo 2 niños en CMI y me siento muy orgullosa de la escuela.
Bueno.
Tengo una niña también que se graduó de ahí y estoy muy orgullosa, pero también estoy muy preocupada.
Me permite. Mi nombre es Matilde Quintana y quiero decirles que también les... I'm sorry. My name is Matilde Quintana, and I really appreciate everything that you do. I'm really proud of our schools. I have 2 kids at CMI, and I have a daughter who also graduated from there.
Y también quiero decirles que como madre me siento un poco preocupada. Mis niños están contentos porque al final están con sus amiguitos, pero sé de mamás que tienen la misma preocupación que yo. Cada mañana que me levanto con mucho temor de que mi niño se vaya a enfermar o al contrario, que vayan a enfermar, ya están vacunados, pero de todas maneras yo tengo miedo de lo que pueda pasar. Y
As a parent of a student, I'm really concerned and worried, as well as other parents in our district. Every morning when I wake up, I have that worry, and I'm concerned about my son to get infected or get sick, or other kids also.
Y quisiera que por favor no les quitaran a nuestros niños la máscara, porque esa es una seguridad que nos da a todos los padres. Al menos, yo sé que muchos papás tienen pavor de que les vayan a quitar a los niños la máscara, y yo tengo miedo, como les digo, y no quisiera que eso pasara.
I'm here to ask to please do not direct the schools to remove the masks. That give us a safe of mind. We would be really worried if the students are told not to use the masks.
Y que por favor que escucháramos a los CDC y siguiéramos también nosotros los padres cooperar y escuchar y hacer caso. Pero como nosotros como adultos somos los que tenemos que protegerlos, que no sea un niño nada más el que se va y que todo lo demás está bien, que no sea ningún niño, que sea el 100% de nuestros niños que están sanos, que nos podamos ir a nuestra casa seguros de que ellos van a estar bien. Y también quisiera que en nuestra escuela, en CMI, hubiera agua filtrada para nuestros niños, que agua que se pudiera tomar, porque eso también es importante, creo yo, para ellos.
Okay.
Eso sería todo lo que yo pidiera.
Okay. ¿Me puede repetir lo que dijo
Claro
antes del agua para filtrarla?
Quisiera que por favor si pudieran poner agua para nuestros niños.
No, pero antes del agua. Antes, lo que dijo antes del agua.
¿Qué sería?
Sí.
A ver.
Porque...
¿Qué dijo? No me acuerdo. Ay, bueno. Sí.
Elizabeth, do you remember what she said?
Sí,
Okay.
mire,
Usted mencionó de que no quería que ni un niño se
ningún
fuera.
niño, por favor, se fuera de enfermo a su casa
Okay.
o que fuera hospitalizado. Ninguno, que no fuera, es que nada más fue un niño o fue un niño, dos niños aquí, ni siquiera una maestra, porque también queremos a todos nuestros maestros y queremos nuestro director, queremos a todos, o sea, no queremos que sea en general, ¿me entiende? Que todos tengamos ese cuidado y también, más que nada, que por favor, que no nos quiten las máscaras.
Okay, ya recordé cómo empezó. She's asking to please do not remove the masks. Follow all the safety guidelines from the CDC, because she wouldn't like to send not even one student to their home because he or she got infected or is sick or is ill. She wouldn't like to hear, oh, but there were only one or two. Yeah, not a big deal. She didn't mention that, right? But that's what I got that her message was, right? Not something one or two, right? No, not even one. She wants all the students to stay in school and that they are healthy. That's what she would like to see, and she is asking that to please make sure that all the safety guidelines are there. Also, she is asking to have water that is filtered, right? Water that they can drink, that our students can drink at school. Ahorita no hay, ¿tiene bebederos?
Yeah, we have water bottle refilling stations, don't we?
Yeah. Okay. Es bien entendido que tenemos las estaciones para rellenar las botellas de agua, y esa agua está filtrada, ¿verdad? Do we provide the bottles? We did, yes. Okay. A los estudiantes se les dieron unas botellitas, unos containers, entonces ya no les dejamos que vayan y tomen de los bebederos, ¿verdad? Por la misma razón. Entonces, nomás van y ponen la botella para que se llene y luego ya ellos se la toman.
Entonces, sí
Sí hay,
sí hay
sí,
agua
sí,
filtrada.
sí hay agua
Es
filtrada.
todo. Muchísimas
Okay.
gracias.
Okay, that's it. Thank you very much. Okay, well, thank you. And you know, this is not the first time when I made that. I apologize that. And sometimes in the ILAC meetings, I'm translating, and then I turn back to the parent, I tell them in English also. At least I didn't do that here, right? It was just one. I'm improving. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So we are going to continue with our meeting, and our next item is the consent calendar. It's an action item. Do I have a motion to approve the items listed under the consent calendar?
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Nelson and Trustee Dr. Freeman. We are going to vote. Trustee Vallejo,
Aye.
Trustee Freeman,
Aye.
Trustee Nelson,
Aye.
Trustee Stafford.
I have a question. Can we discuss this at all before we vote on this? After I reviewed it again, I came up with a couple of questions, and if not, I understand, but,
I think that should have been
That
brought
should-
up
what-
for the reordering of the agenda.
Right.
okay.
We would have to pull,
Yeah,
we would have to pull it off the consent and put it onto action to be able to have conversation about individual items.
Yeah.
Yes, well, where will I get the opportunity to talk to you about these things that I'm concerned about?
If you want to,
It's not dire, I just need to understand
okay.
what we're doing.
I'll reach out to you tomorrow, Mr. Stafford, and see what we need to do.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you, Mr. Stafford, for your understanding. And I'm going to take note of this, probably, as a president, whenever we approve the agenda, I'm going to make sure that I remind about if there are any concerns about the consent, any items in the consent calendar,
Yeah.
so we can talk in advance and before it gets approved. Yeah,
Yeah, that's my fault, I
yeah.
didn't come to me till late, so it's
Yeah.
okay. I could talk to Grant about them.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so we are going to continue with the vote, Trustee Stafford, if that is okay with you?
Okay, so aye.
Okay, very good, thank you. Trustee Arauz, aye. And now, please, let's vote electronically. And upon a roll call vote taken, the vote was 5-0. Okay, the next item is oral reports. 10.1, summer school update.
Well, President Rouse, I'd like to invite Director Zero to the stand. We made a commitment to you and the people that we served last spring to bring a robust and unprecedented summer school. And we feel very proud of what we've done this summer. She's going to give you some data. You spoke earlier about data and the hardship students have been through. And this summer school went a long way in completing that learning loss. Not completing it, but making up some of that learning loss. And I want to thank her personally because she really had a direct influence and showed some genuine leadership in making this all happen.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Ralph, and thank you, Ms. Zero.
All right, good evening, Dr. President Arau. I appreciate being here with the board members and be able to share a little bit about summer school. This was the biggest summer school I've ever been a part of, which is really exciting to see, especially given the circumstances right now where we are trying to recover some of that learning loss, and really excited to share what data we have for you. Go ahead and move the next slide. And as always, we like to just make sure that we remind everybody of our LCAP goals, and this is where we really look at some of the specific focus areas that we have, and so just making sure that we review those as well.
I can go to the slides. You send out this presentation. I'll just open that on my email.
Okay, thank you, Tony.
And go along with that. And that was great that they sent that out. Thank you so much.
You can move to the next slide, thanks.
Sorry about that, you're good to go.
Okay.
So when we look at the summer school numbers, this is what was really exciting. We reached out and really took a lot of effort to get out to students and request that they attend summer school for any of the classes that they needed to work on over the summer. And we had a total of 2,062 students participate in summer school, which is about 3 or 4 times the amount that we normally have. We usually only have about 500 district-wide that participate in summer school. So that was really exciting to see that we were able to serve as many students as turned in their applications. We didn't turn any students away. We had an amazing number of teachers willing to come in and teach our students. So you'll see that with those number of students that participated in summer school, we had 14,868.5 credits recovered for students, which equates to 3,242 courses that were recovered. When you're looking at the breakdown of the subgroups, you'll notice that they are duplicated if they qualified for more than one of those subgroups. So if they were a special education student who is also homeless or foster, they are counted twice in there. So you wouldn't, if you totaled those numbers, it would not equal that total number on top, just to make sure that's clear. So you'll see that we had 444 special education students participate, and they recovered almost 4,000 credits, 884 courses. We had a lot of special education support for those students. If you remember, we talked about prior to summer school, we were really reaching out to make sure that we were offering those services to students that were not receiving all of the services that they needed during distance learning, so we made sure that we gave that extra effort during summer school to reach out to the special education students and provide those services over summer school. So it was really exciting to see the number of students. Mr. Bruff and I were out the first couple of days of summer school on campus, and boy, did it warm my heart to see students on campus and excited to be there. They were really dressed like it was the first day of school. It wasn't the normal summer school where you see them rolling out into their classes in their pajamas. If we've all seen summer school, that's kind of what it looks like during normal circumstances, but kids were so excited to be back on campus, talking to them. They were excited to be there. They were excited to get back in the classroom and have face-to-face interaction with teachers. It was just a really great experience. We made sure that we visited all of the campuses multiple times that first week to ensure that we had enough support on the campuses. We've never had summer school that big, and to make sure that we had enough staffing to support the needs of the students, whether it was in the classrooms during nutrition breaks, as well as the campus supervision. And we did make some adjustments based on what we saw in that first few days of summer school. So really excited to see what summer school yielded for us. Next slide. Sure.
If you go back to the last slide, I'm just wondering, what classes have 45 credits or 1.5?
So the special education classes for that extended day that they were able to stay for an extended period, they were able to get 2.5 credits for that additional portion of time. That's why you'll see that half credit.
Would that include English learners?
The English learners, it could have been an English learner that was also a special education student. Yeah, because we do have some duplicates, and that's why you will see some duplicate numbers. Yeah, yeah. Uh-huh. And then this really talks about what we were talking about earlier with AB 104, as well as what the board decided in regards to graduation requirements and allowing students to graduate with the reduced number of credits. So if you remember, we talked about, we reduced the number of credits for our comprehensive sites to 185 and then to 130 for our alt-ed sites. So these numbers are actually the total of both summer school and the end of the school year. So the total number of graduates was 1,819 students. And then you'll see the breakdown that we had 44 students that graduated with 130 credits, 194 that graduated with 185, and then 1,581 that graduated with the 225. So as we were talking about with AB 104 earlier, we actually did, once that bill was passed, we did a lot of outreach for those students who did not graduate, made sure that the ones that were in summer school were aware of those graduation requirements, reached out to them, made sure that they were in the right classes, and made sure that they completed. Any of the students that were close with the 130, we were reaching out to them if they weren't enrolled in summer school and trying to get them to come back, as part of AB 104 also talks about bringing seniors that were last year's seniors back for a 5th year. So any students that did not graduate, even during summer school, we did some outreach to ensure that we reached out to every student that was a non-grad from 2021 to ensure that they knew that they could come back for an additional 5th year. So there was a lot of phone calls made at the, right in between summer school and the beginning of the school year to make sure that those students knew that they could come back and that there was still hope for them to graduate with the 130. And that 130 applies not just to alt-ed now, it actually applies to the comprehensive site too. So we have done some adjusting with some of those numbers as well due to that requirement.
If any, excuse me, if any of those chose to come back for the 5th year, would they be considered to be a 21 graduate or 22 graduate?
It would probably be a 22 graduate, depending on how long that took them to graduate. If they came and enrolled and were able to complete classes before, I know with CalPads, there's a certain date that they have to submit as a graduate, which I believe is, I think it's August 27th, if I remember correctly. It's sometime at the end of this month that they would have to complete by. So if they came back, like for instance at Paris Lake, they work through some of the credit recovery classes and they can work through at their own speed. If they finish before that deadline, they could be considered a 2021 graduate. But anything after that, they would be considered a 2022 graduate.
44 students.
Yeah. Yeah. And so now the students that this year's seniors, that 130 credits also applies to this year's seniors. And so there has already been some outreach done with the students that are credit deficient to make sure that they know if they fit into those qualifications and what they would need to do to complete that. And that's also helped us kind of adjust where we look at alt ed and which students are going to alt ed, because now it opens up some seats for our students that are juniors that are credit deficient, because this only applies for this year's seniors. So juniors are still going to have to recover those credits for the 225 as of right now. And so we want to make sure that we're getting the juniors over and taking advantage of the Paris Lake support and maybe being able to bring them back for their senior year. So some of the seniors that are credit deficient but will qualify for the 130 credits, they're still on the comprehensive high school getting that support to finish the 130 credits. So there's been a lot of outreach done with AB 104. Our counselors, like I said, they did a great job of the outreach with the grade change applications. Just reaching out to students to make sure that they understood what the bill meant. You know, we did a outreach, which was required with the parents, the notification, the website posting, but we also went out and talked to classes to make sure that students understood that, especially with the college admissions conversation. We want to provide as many opportunities for our students to get accepted into colleges, and last year was really rough on a lot of kids, but this bill really can help some of those students that might have done really well their freshman and sophomore year and then just had a really hard time their junior year, and this year for their senior year, they're not having to repeat 6 or 7 classes because they got Ds. They're able to continue on and go with the classes that they need for this year and still have those opportunities for college admission.
With the outreach that you're doing, now I know this doesn't necessarily apply to the summer school, but I wanted to bring it up. I saw where we have students that because of COVID delayed or even put away the idea of going to college. Mm-hmm. And do we participate or do some kind of outreach that we can bring them back to the idea of getting them on the path to where they would have been going before?
No, absolutely. There was also conversations with students to make sure when we were going through those processes with the students, we had a lot of students come back and say, we don't feel comfortable maybe going to a 4-year school, even if they got accepted. What's been really great, we've had a lot of support from the county as well. If you're familiar with the CalSoap program, we had CalSoap coaches assigned to each of our campuses, and we did outreach for those students that might have applied to a UC or a CSU but then didn't actually commit. Luckily, the colleges gave a lot of leeway this year as far as making those commitments. They extended a lot of deadlines. So up until even last week, I was working with a student that had to do the grade change, had been accepted to UCR, but then had some grade issues that second semester, and UCR worked with them as long as we came back and helped her with those grade changes. They were working on her orientation, I believe it was yesterday or the day before, to get her there, and a lot of times it's just they don't understand the financial aid aspect too, so spending the time to explain the financial aid to this student, she actually was going to get way more money if she went to UCR than she would have if she was going to a community college, and she can still live at home. And that was kind of, what sometimes is the toss-up is they don't feel comfortable maybe going and living on campus. But this situation really lended itself to making sure that we reached out and worked with the college. UCR has been amazing. They have really supported this process, and I think that comes with the relationship with the county as well as the CalSoap program has really helped our students.
So when you're saying UCR or the UC system, to your knowledge, is the UC system accepting the grade change?
Some, not all of them.
Not all the UCs,
Yeah.
but UCR is one of them.
UCR is one of them.
I'm really glad.
Yeah. we're really lucky to have them in our community because some of the UCs are not. So part of the AB 104 is that they did have to post on the CDE website which colleges were accepting it, which ones weren't. All of the CSUs are accepting them. They're required. And then there's a good handful of the UCs that are also accepting it, but not all of them. And some of the private schools are also not. But we've been pretty lucky with being able to support our students. So it's been a really great year being able to support students through those challenges. Because there was a lot of students that I think were feeling really defeated towards the end of the year, knowing that they were finishing the year and they had this uncertainty of whether or not they were going to be able to go to college because of maybe, it can literally be down to a percentage point sometimes when it came to some of the grading and stuff. So,
Because if they got a D in those classes, but if it's a pass,
yeah. Yeah. And I really see it helping support students that are underclassmen getting ready to go into their senior year, even next year, because when you look at transcripts right now, you'll see students that did really poorly last year. And I think as a student, I would probably have done poorly with some of my classes, particularly some of those areas that I'm not as strong in. So I can imagine students sitting on the other side of the computer really struggling with content that is really hard for them even when they're in person. And so I think this also gives hope and motivation to students that are underclassmen, knowing that that 1 year, the COVID year, didn't kill all of my opportunity when I become a senior. So I think it gives us a lot of opportunity to help support students and re-motivate them and get them re-engaged, and all of the things that we've seen, kids being welcomed back by our staff, our teachers. It's been really awesome to see their excitement, and I think that we just can't wait to continue to help them as we go through the school year with some of these processes. Let's go ahead and advance it to the next slide. And this was probably one of the most fun things this year, because this is something we've done every year as far as having a summer school graduation, but typically we don't have that until school actually starts. And this year, we decided to have that summer school the day that summer school finished, to give students the motivation to finish that Friday for graduation, and also just to be able to celebrate students and make them feel like it was special enough for us to celebrate it right as they finish their courses. And you'll see it was super fun to see the kids in their different caps and gowns. It was fun to see that they got to represent their school. They didn't all have to wear, an alt-ed cap and gown. They got to represent their school, and we had some amazing support from the schools. We had teachers come out. We had counselors come out and support the kids walking across to the stage. It was a lot of fun to see that celebration and that motivation that they had because they got to come to graduation that day that we finished summer school. And then during summer school, we got to provide some incentives for students, and this was a lot of fun. Dr. Garcia got to work with our site admin that were working summer school, and we provided attendance incentives as well as course completion incentives. So these students were able to get some really cool prizes. I think we had earphones and bikes and skateboards and lots of cool different things that the students were rewarded with as incentives for coming to summer school and participating. We even had summer school at Pinacate, and they don't earn credits, but that was a lot of fun. They got to participate in a rotation in which they were exposed to not just academics, but they also got to participate in some athletics, some art. So they were re-engaged with classes and that interaction with teachers. And that can be sometimes a little bit harder to motivate middle school students because they aren't earning credits. It doesn't count towards graduation.
May I ask what kind of funding you used to buy the bonds?
It was all part of the AB 86 money. Yeah.
The ELO specifically.
The
Extended learning opportunity.
Oh, I'm sorry, I did an acronym, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, they were extended learning opportunities.
And that is only for summer?
No, we have a robust program going on right now that Dr. Garcia, you couldn't get into her office at one point. So there'll be more pictures coming your way throughout the year.
Yeah.
And she's going to talk about that in the attendance program in a little while, in the second presentation.
And is the same funding, Ms. Raines, or Dr. Garcia?
I'm sure what
Yes.
they're using for Revolving.
Yes, it is.
Okay, yeah.
Extended learning opportunity dollars as well. Yes.
All right, next slide. And this is just a recap of what we did with special ed to ensure that we provided those additional services. We did have special education teachers that worked that extended day, paraeducators to support students in a lot of classes. We also had related service providers, so they did some of the OT and the speech. They did pullouts with students that were supposed to receive those services that might not have had as much access during COVID. And so really good that the kids were able to get those opportunities. It was provided, the invitation was provided to every special education student. We do wish that all of them wanted to also come and receive those services, but the ones that came and received the services, they definitely benefited. You saw how many credits they recovered when they were coming to summer school. So we feel like it was really successful to have those supports in place for our special education students. And at this time, I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Bruff.
We did want to give you a COVID update. That was a regular aspect of our board meetings last year. And while it was such a pleasure to have students on campus because those metrics had dropped, you know, we are seeing some interesting moves. And interesting is not always positive, right? So the last full school year, May 19th, we had, you know, 1.6 positivity rate as our 7-day average. And as you can see, it's now 12.3. If we were back in tiers, we would be back in the purple tier. So that is alarming. Total tests there, you see that number. Confirmed cases, 320,000. You know, you did a moment of silence for people who had struggled, and we have 485 souls in hospitals at the moment that are battling this disease. So keep them in your thoughts and prayers. And this tragedy, we never should forget the final outcome that 4,686 people have died, and that is an important awareness when we think about what our parents presented to us about how important safety protocols are, how we have to follow the advice of the medical community that our superintendent, and I believe you spoke about, President Raux, that this is a reality, and these are human beings that we've lost. The one there, greatly, 310,821 people have had it and recovered. So that's wonderful news, and hopefully the more people that become vaccinated, that they'll have a good response to it and not succumb to this illness. So we did, while this isn't great news, we feel responsibility to present it to you all as a board.
I think it just goes to show that with the 12.3% positivity rate, necessity for us to stick with the masks, even though a lot of us don't like to wear them, but still the necessity is there.
I don't know anybody likes to wear them. I don't know anybody likes to wear
I don't know anybody likes to wear it, but.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Ruff.
Can you do that slide if you want to see? She's welcome to come up if she wants to get. Or I can bring it over to her. You want me to bring it over to her?
I looked into the computer.
Oh, thank you.
This one's back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Ruff. During this presentation, at the end, you mentioned the input from the parents who are present here, how they mentioned. I just would like to, if it's okay with you, Mr. Bennett, I would like to offer the parents that if they are planning to, if they are going to continue to come, we can make arrangements to have simultaneous translation at the same time as a service to them. I would like to offer that. El superintendente está de acuerdo con mi propuesta de que si ustedes planean continuar, otras personas, ¿verdad? Si una viene y trae más personas, porque sí me gustaría ver más personas participando, podemos hacer arreglos para que haya traducción simultánea tenemos unos audífonos y podemos tener una traductora que a la misma vez, así todo lo que se está diciendo, no se les pase ningún detallito, ¿verdad? Entonces, si tienen planeado, usted nos puede... How would you like to... Oh, okay, okay, muy bien. And they can confirm if they are coming, then we make arrangements to do that. Okay, tenemos su teléfono, ustedes lo pusieron en sus tarjetitas. Él les va a hablar o alguien de aquí del distrito para antes de la próxima junta. Ustedes dicen, no, sí, sí voy a poder ir y va a ir mi amiga, mi vecina, mi comadre o quien sea, ¿verdad? Que se la traiga, que tenga un hijo aquí en el distrito y ya les dice cuántas personas más o menos y vamos a tener los audífonos y una traductora para que ustedes se inviten a más miembros de la comunidad, please. Okay, muy bien.
May I also say, Dr. Rouse, that normally we have the rest of our directors here, particularly Director Tippy, who is our EL director, and he's fluent in Spanish. So normally we would have many people here who could translate, but for safety purposes, we've limited, to fewer people.
Yeah.
So we will take the precaution.
Sí, el señor Broff está diciendo que normalmente tenemos varios directores de departamentos del distrito, como el señor Tipi, él habla muy bien español. Entonces, nada más que ahorita por seguridad disminuyó el número de participantes aquí, pero normalmente hay más personas. Pero una vez más, ustedes se van a comunicar con ustedes y ustedes hacen arreglos para venir. Con mucho gusto les vamos a proveer el traductor al simultáneo. Okay, thank you. Okay, so we are going to continue with our meeting, and the next item is 10.2, attendance plan update.
So this is a segue to Dr. Garcia, who we mentioned earlier. She's going to come up and present to you on an overview of attendance last year, which was obviously a highly irregular year. And then she's going to end with some of the work that she's doing and that we're all doing to encourage students to attend this year.
Good evening, Board President Dr. Jose Arau and board members, Superintendent Bennett, and Cabinet. This evening, I will provide an update on the 2021 attendance and also an update on the 2021-22 attendance plan. So tonight's presentation aligns directly with goal number 3, which states that all departments and sites will provide a safe and positive learning environment for all students and staff. Next slide, please. So as you all recall, the adopted state budget for 2021 was a direct result of the impact of COVID-19. It provided guidance for enrollment and average daily attendance. It also provided guidance for hold harmless provision for the 2021 fiscal year, and it amended the attendance collection requirement for the fiscal year. The good news also was that the 2019-20 ADA funded for 2021 regardless of the ADA percentages. Next slide, please. Now, I know everyone in this room knows how to calculate the ADA. However, I wanted to give a brief description for the audience. So there are 3 ways to figure attendance. The first, ADA to enrollment. So ADA is generated from the first school month to the last school month ending before April 15th, regardless of seat time. So this drives funding. The second is seat time, the first day that the student is enrolled to the last day that the student is enrolled. Now, this allows us to understand how successful we were at getting kids to school. And the last was student participation and engagement. So for the 2020-21 school year, school districts who were providing instruction through distance learning were required to document student attendance, daily participation, weekly engagement, as well as certifying the instructional minutes that were provided for students. Participation was verified through online instruction, online activities, completed assignments, completed assessments, communication between the school, the student, and the parents, and any other additional educational opportunities that the school site provided. Now, before I go on to the next slide, I did want to ask the expert in this field, Ms. Candace Rains, if I was able to explain that accurately.
I think you did a fair job. It's very complicated. My favorite line was when you said everyone knows how to calculate it. So comedic relief. Thank you, Dr. Garcia.
Very good. Can you go to the next?
That's what I thought when she said everybody.
You're right, it is very complicated.
But good news is we got you covered.
Very good. Okay, so normally we would report the attendance rate for the previous year, but as we've all been discussing, this last year was greatly impacted by COVID-19. Carrie Bobbitt, our student information students technician, was able to pull some of this data for us this evening, and I wanted to share this with you. So during the 2021 school year, our overall attendance for all students was 90.1%. The participation rate was 78.2%. Now keep in mind, the attendance percentage was calculated based on the attendance data that was provided by both students and staff for each period, each day. The participation data was measured based on the examples that I just provided: the online instruction, the online activities, the completion of assignments, completion of assessments, the communication between the site and the student and the parent, and other opportunities that the school site may have provided. But if you will notice, there is not a great disparity between the subgroups. So the attendance percentages, if you look under attendance percentage column, you will see that the lowest attendance percentage was 85.3% in the English learner subgroup, and the highest was 86.8% in the foster youth subgroup. Now, if we look over at the participation rate column, you will notice that the lowest participation rate was with our English learner subgroup, 71.7%, and the highest was in the special education subgroup with 75.1%. The numbers indicate that our students across all subgroups struggled. Distance learning was very challenging. And as you just heard Ms. Zero talk about our summer school intervention program, that was the idea, to develop a program that would address the learning loss for all of our students as a result of the pandemic. Next slide, please. And as Julie mentioned, we had a little over 2,000 students that were enrolled in summer school, and these are great numbers. Our attendance percentage overall for all students was 82.2%. Now again, if you look at the percentages, you will see that there is not a huge disparity among the subgroups. So for special education, for the special education subgroup, the attendance rate was 76.5%. Our English learner subgroup was 81.6%. Our foster youth subgroup was at 79%. But if we take a close look at the homeless subgroup, that attendance rate was the highest of all of them, 82.8%. This was the first in-person instruction opportunity, and you mentioned opportunity earlier, opportunity that we provided for our students. It was a great success. What we did is we created a safe space for all of our students. We created a space of belonging. These numbers make me really happy, and I hope that you feel the same way, because what we did is we provided something really special for all of our students, for our at-promise students, to be able to get back on track. And so when I look at these numbers, it just makes my heart pitter-patter. So, I mean, it was just really nice to see so many students who were able to participate. So many students who, had we not had this opportunity, would have fallen further behind and maybe not have graduated on time. Next slide, please. Despite the success over summer school, we still know that our students are going to, or I should back up a little bit, we knew that our students were going to return to in-person instruction, having dealt with trauma, and they were still healing from that trauma. Our families really were impacted by this pandemic. So we started this year with a focus on mental wellness and social emotional well-being. We are going to embrace the idea of restorative practices, and we are going to practice active listening. We're going to practice empathy, and we're going to identify those barriers that are impacting our students' education. We are going to address those barriers, and we're going to connect families to resources. One of those resources, Mr. Bennett mentioned it earlier, we now have social workers at all of the school sites. They will be available, they are available to all of our students, so they will be working with our students and our families. In addition to that, we are going to continue our home visits. So this past year, if you recall, at one of our board presentations, we talked about how all of the administrators, they had hit the pavement. They went knocking on doors, and they wanted to send the message that they truly cared, that we truly cared about our students, that we were here for them and we hadn't forgotten about them. We went out with Chromebooks in case their Chromebooks weren't working. We went out with anxiety kits. We went out with school supplies. They really did a lot of work this past year, and we're going to continue this work this year with our attendance specialists, our administrators, our social workers will also be a part of that process. In addition to that, we will continue to use the Attention to Attendance program, where we're able to communicate with our families when students are missing school. We will continue to meet with our families at the school site through our student attendance review team. And if the interventions at the site are not working, we'll continue to refer those families to the student attendance review board, where we will, again, embrace the restorative approach and identify those barriers to really provide those supports for our families. So we're really excited about this next year. We have additional support, we have additional services, and I know we had talked earlier about the incentives. I have also tasked our assistant principals who are over the attendance office to create a SMART goal. They're going to identify a percentage that they're going to want to reach each month. So by the end of the year, hopefully we've increased that attendance. And we're also going to acknowledge our students who have 100% attendance, but we also want to acknowledge our students who have made improvement in their attendance. So we're really excited. We're going to focus on making connections, building relationships, and making sure that our families and our students have everything they need to be successful. And as Mr. Bennett mentioned earlier, in regards to our mission as a district, we want to continue to create a culture of caring or a culture of cariño, because that is exactly what our students and our families deserve. So with that, that concludes my presentation. Were there any questions?
Yeah, I just had a quick question. When you guys say that social workers are available on every site, does that also mean like when a student is like in distress during school, like they can just go to their office and then just talk? Or is it like appointment wise, or just what's their freedom on that?
So that is a great question. We are working on a system to create at each of the school sites. We have met with the site principals this past week. The idea is that the social workers will be working out of the wellness centers, and each of the sites are in the process of creating those wellness centers. The social worker will be available to support students as they walk in. So if we have a kid who is feeling anxious, or they're feeling depressed, or they're angry, if they're in class, if they're out on campus, they can refer the student over to the wellness center. When they arrive to the wellness center, that social worker will greet them, they will triage them, they will determine what exactly that student needs. Is it just 10 minutes to do some meditation? Do they need to go write in a journal? Do they maybe need some, an assessment so that we could determine if there are other needs that the student or the family requires? So that would be the first step. And then following that, they would be able to set up appointments with the student and the family.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Dr. Garcia, Trustee Stafford has a question. Go ahead, Trustee Stafford.
Well, kind of a statement and question also. I want to thank you for sending the presentation out in advance also, as the same as Ms. Arrow did. You guys have done a great job with summer school. I mean, it's really heartwarming to see what you've done here and continue to do. I'm glad to see that you're keeping us informed on the COVID numbers, because that is my question, and I don't know that you can really answer this, or if anybody can. If we measured our positivity now, we'd be in the purple tier. Is that what Mr. Bruff said, right?
Yes.
So what I'm trying to get at is, well, what's changed to help us manage this more effectively, where we can keep things going? Can you put your finger on anything that really you feel that's being done? Because solutions is what we're after in the long run. And I think this summer school may be a part of the solution, of course. But anything in the future, plans for? I mean, we're really have gone back to the same place we were as far as COVID. So doing different, we put in all the protocols and so forth. Any other changes? Anything come to mind? Any new ideas on that?
I'm going to ask Candace to share a little bit with.
Okay.
You don't have to run away, Pauline.
I'm vaccinated. So, Mr. Stafford, sorry, I'm getting a breath of fresh air here now. So I'm not going to give you Candace Rain's answer or Paris Union High School District answer. I'm going to reiterate what we continue to hear from public health. And so the difference is, if we remember on June 15th, we exited we went beyond the blueprint for a safer economy, it was called, right? And that was triggered by the number of people that were vaccinated and masking. So while we may or may not agree, and of course we like having students in school and all of that, we know that that's great for them, that is what the state is basing all of this on now, masks and vaccinations. Physical distancing is no longer a part of the equation, unless we're talking about employees and we get to certain levels under the Cal OSHA emergency temporary standards. But really it's those two things, Mr. Stafford, vaccination levels and the required masking indoors at all times when students are present, regardless of vaccination status. I hope I answered that question.
You did, and I have a couple more questions, but I'm not going to ask you those here. And we're all pretty aware, but we want to make the public feel comfortable, with what we're doing and that we're right on it, and be transparent. And it's important that we all keep informed. As one of the parents spoke about, is we don't want misinformation. We want to always have the accurate information, and that the public has access to that directly from us, since we're servicing them. So it's not to me, it's not a wish game. It's what do you do about it? It's what you positively do. And I can see that you're really putting it out there and trying to do everything you possibly can. And I really appreciate that. So that wasn't much of a question, I guess.
Thank you, Tony.
Okay.
Thank you, Trustee Stafford. Any other questions or comments?
I'd like to thank you for all the information given, and as well for the summer school, everything that was done to help the students get back into the swing of things here. That was a stepping stone, and I really appreciate all the work that was put into it. So thank you to all you guys.
Thank you.
I want to add the same thing on those terms, Trustee Nelson, Mr. Rolfe, and Dr. Garcia and Ms. Cyril for the presentation for summer school. Wonderful job, right? We are seeing that is going to translate into the support to the students in our community. Our most vulnerable members of our community. I can see that we are ready for this school year. We are prepared to provide the social emotional support for the students. I have just one question. Have our staff or the social workers, the people or staff who is going to be providing the social emotional learning support, have they been trained on suicide prevention?
Yes, there was a Keenan training that was mandated. As you know, that's mandated each year.
Mm-hmm.
It will be also highlighted on our PD days in
Okay.
October.
Okay.
But the social workers are proud of the fact that we came up with an online protocol, and we were one of the few districts that did that last year. So we had not only a protocol for normally if that occurs, but what if that occurs when you were teaching online? We're now no longer online, but that has always been a priority. I also, Mr. Williams, in technology, you're aware that we've had our gag alerts, and we reported on that to you last spring, those numbers. I believe you gave that report of those numbers. And our administrators have responded really 24/7 during this whole pandemic to any student that expressed, an online distress. So it's an important thing, and we'll continue to make it a priority.
Thank you, Mr. Ruff. I just want to add a comment in terms of expanding that little bit into the staff to identify signs of potential situations or struggles. We have close to 80% Hispanic in our district, close to 80, right? A little bit more. I believe. Do you remember the percentage of Hispanic, the Hispanics in our district? 78, close to 80. The direction of this question is because I know the Hispanic community, and specifically about suicide and social emotional elements, mental issues, that is not addressed openly in our communities and in our families. So it's going to be kind of not that common that we are, oh, I'm feeling like this, can somebody help me, right? There is this is part of the culture. I can tell you, it's kind of you mentioned kind of a stigma to talk about that, starting from religious beliefs, right? Very respectful, all of that, right? But there are a lot of elements that are not going to allow the majority of the students and our families that we serve to openly come and ask for support or saying, I'm having that emotional problem or mental issue, I need help. So it's not going to happen. And so that's why I was asking if we have, or if we can consider probably later, some specific training on suicide and identifying specific signs that can trigger that, because they are subtle behavioral manifestations of students and even potentially staff members that we can identify, so we can support them and help them. Because if we can make the difference in one, just one, if we can say one, it is very important. How one of the parents mentioned with the students that called my attention. So it's just a comment from that perspective, just to be aware and keep that in mind. Yeah.
Please know our entire focus this year is on student wellness, student connectivity.
Yeah.
We've adopted the Thrive League campaign with the CASEL strategies, and everything this year is about student connection.
Perfect.
And being empathetic and really monitoring their well-being. So I would say there's not one thing we're doing. We certainly do things you've outlined, but that's built into everything we're doing.
Yes.
The Zero's working on our monthly PD is all about feedback.
Okay. Perfect.
That's really about how do you speak to students and listen to students.
Yes.
And give them feedback, not just about, hey, how was your essay or how did you do on your math test, but we're focused on feedback in terms of how are you feeling, what's going on, really monitoring their social emotional, capacity, how they're presenting and feeling. So that is not just a training, but I want to assure you that is the entire focus, and it goes back to the mission statement that Superintendent did. We're in the present tense.
Excellent.
We care.
Yes.
And we won't do one thing. We will be doing that all year long.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Bro, for expanding on that. I think that answers my question and gives me a peace of mind when you talk about the listening and focusing on developing relationships, because that is the key. That's how, when you develop those relationships, that's when somebody is going to be able, who has some issues, to be able to share and we can address them. Yeah. But I wanted to share that. I thought about that situation on the high percentage in our community, and I know that is one important element. Okay. So, thank you.
We need to move on, but our social workers are in place, we had a homeless student who was running away, and that social worker, the second day, spent time, and that kid's been coming to school. And had we not had those social workers that supported through the ELO funding, that's one human being that would have been maybe falling
Exactly.
back. So we've got to create lots of systems where kids feel welcome
Yes.
to come and talk, even if that's not their norm, that they're used to being open. We have to build
Exactly.
that capacity in those students.
Perfect. Thank you, Mr. Ruff. I really appreciate everything that your department and everybody at the district is doing to support our students.
It's an honor to folks.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Okay. All right, so we are going to continue with our meeting, and the next item is 11.1, general functions. It's an information item, quarterly uniform complaint report summary for April-June 2021. Our next item. 12.1 is an action item, personnel, certificated personnel action items. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Nelson and Trustee Dr. Freeman. Are there any questions or comments regarding this action number? Okay, so we are going to proceed to vote. Trustee Vallejo,
Aye.
Trustee Nelson,
Aye.
Trustee Dr. Freeman,
Aye.
Trustee Stafford,
Aye.
and Trustee Araux, aye. Let's proceed to vote electronically, please. And upon a roll call vote being taken, the vote was 5-0. Next item, 12.2, is also an action item, personnel, classified personnel action items. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
So moved.
Trustee
I'll
Nelly,
second. That's fine.
okay, Trustee Stafford and Trustee Nellison.
One.
I'm sorry, Trustee Stafford, since I was not able to see if you raise your hand.
Oh, that's okay.
Okay.
I just figured I should vote on one thing.
Okay, excellent, excellent. Okay, we are going to proceed to take a vote. Trustee Vallejo,
Aye.
Trustee Nellison,
Aye.
Trustee Dr. Freeman,
Aye.
and Trustee Stafford.
Aye.
Trustee Araux, aye. And let's vote electronically, please. And upon a roll call vote being taken, the vote was 5-0. The next item is also an action item, 12.3, curriculum, agreement with Connect Ed for planning and design of the link learning approach for Liberty High School and Perris High School, funded through various COVID funds in the amount of $123,400, not the general fund. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Trustee Nellison? Trustee Vallejo? Are there any comments or questions? Hearing none, we are going to vote. Trustee Vallejo?
Aye.
Trustee Nellison?
Aye.
Trustee Dr. Freeman?
Aye.
Trustee Stafford?
Aye.
And Trustee Araux? Aye. Let's proceed to vote electronically, and upon the roll call vote being taken, the vote was 5-0. The next item is 12.4, also action item, curriculum, agreement for professional consultant services with a Blue Water Educational Consulting for alternative to suspension site-level training using restorative discipline practices for Perris High School and Pinacate Middle School, funded through Title I funds at a cost not to exceed $40,000, not the general fund. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Trustee
Second.
Stafford and Trustee Nellison. Any questions or comments? Okay, let's vote. Trustee Vallejo,
Aye.
Trustee Nellison,
Aye.
Trustee Dr. Freeman,
Aye.
Trustee Stafford,
Aye.
and Trustee Araux, aye. Let's vote electronically, please. And upon a roll call vote being taken, the vote was 5-0. The next item, please. 12.5 is also an action item, curriculum, proposal from Stimulate Learning to provide math educational and consulting services to Pinacate Middle School for the 21-22 school year, funded through differentiated assistance at a total cost not to exceed $73,000, not the general fund. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Trustee Nellison,
Second.
Trustee Dr. Freeman, any comments or questions? Okay, we are going to vote. Trustee Vallejo,
Aye.
Trustee Nelson,
Aye.
Trustee Dr. Freeman,
Aye.
Trustee Stafford,
Aye.
and Trustee Arauz, aye. Let's vote electronically, and upon a roll call vote being taken, the vote was 5-0. Next item. 12.6 is also an action item, building and grounds. Ratification of agreement with IVL Contractors Incorporated for the California Military Institute Modular Relocation Project, funded through various facilities funds at a total cost not to exceed $81,500, not the general fund. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Trustee Nelson?
Second.
Trustee Stafford? Could you please explain for our
Yeah,
constituents?
this was the item because we own, the district owns
The
the
district's the property owner of the.
property.
And CMI is like a tenant.
Perfect. Okay. That's the reason why this item is in the regular board meeting of the Perris Union High School District instead of CMI. Perfect. Okay. Now, we voted verbally, right? Oh, we have not voted. Okay. Now we are going to vote. Trustee Vallejo?
Aye.
Trustee Nelson?
Aye.
Trustee Dr. Freeman?
Love Freeman? Aye. I almost didn't get it out.
Trustee Stafford?
Aye.
And Trustee Arauz, aye. Let's vote electronically, and upon a roll call vote being taken, the vote was 5-0. The next item, please. Is also an action item, 12.7, Building and Grounds, ratification of agreement and change order number 001 with Greer's Contracting and Concrete, Incorporated for the Heritage High School grounds, yard, concrete, and fencing project, funded through various facilities funds in the amount of $20,900, not the general fund. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Dr. Freeman and Trustee Nelson. Now we are going to vote. Trustee Vallejo,
Aye.
Trustee Nelson,
Aye.
Trustee Dr. Freeman,
Aye.
Trustee Stafford,
Aye.
and Trustee Arauz, aye. We are voting electronically, and upon a roll call vote being taken, the vote was 5-0. We go to our next item, and it's action item 12.8, Building and Grounds. Ratification of change order number 1 with Tri-Art Gen Contractors Incorporated for the Perris Day High School Portable 3 and Office Portable Improvements Project, funded through Local Control Accountability Plan Supplemental and Concentration Funds at a cost not to exceed $9,850, not the general fund. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Trustee Nelson
Second.
and Trustee Vallejo. If there are no questions, we are going to vote. Trustee Vallejo,
Aye.
Trustee Nelson,
Aye.
Trustee Dr. Freeman,
There you go again. Aye.
Trustee Stafford.
Aye.
Let's vote electronically, please.
How about yourself?
Before we vote electronically, Trustee Arauz, aye.
Okay. Thank you. Okay.
And upon a roll call vote being taken, the vote was 5-0. Next item, please. 12.9 is also an action item, Building and Grounds, ratification of change order number 02-004 for bid category 40, Pier Landscape Incorporated, to the Libertad High School project, funded through various facility funds in the amount of $387,175.92, not the general fund. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Trustee Nelson,
Second.
Trustee Stafford. Any questions? No, we are going to vote. Trustee Vallejo,
Aye.
Trustee Nelson,
Aye.
Trustee Dr. Freeman,
Aye.
Trustee Stafford,
Aye.
and Trustee Arauz, aye. Let's vote electronically, and upon a roll call vote being taken, the vote was 5-0. Next item. Next item is an action item, 12.10, Board Policies Instruction, Series 6000. Okay, do I have a motion?
Yeah, that is an action item. So moved.
Trustee Nelson?
Second.
Trustee Stafford? Now we are going to vote. Trustee Vallejo?
Aye.
Trustee Nelson?
Aye.
Trustee Dr. Freeman?
Aye.
Trustee Stafford?
Aye.
And Trustee Araux, aye. Let's vote electronically, please. Let me see. Okay, upon a roll call vote being taken, the vote was 5-0. The next item. Next item is an information item, 13.1 curriculum, revised project Lead the Way course, PLTW, Principles of Biomedical Science, and meets A through G requirements. The next item is an information item also, 13.2 curriculum, new math course, Mathematical Thinking, does not meet A through G requirements. Next item, 13.3, is also related to curriculum. New project Lead the Way courses, PLTW, Honors Human Body Systems, PLTW, Honors Medical Interventions, and PLTW, Honors Biomedical Innovations. Courses meet A through G requirements. Do I have a motion? Oh, I'm sorry, it's an information item. It's an information item. May I ask what the PLTW stand for? Oh, Project Lead the Way. Yes, right. Yeah. Thank you. The next item, 13.4, information item, curriculum, new career technical education courses under the RCOE entrepreneurship self-employment sector. Entrepreneurship.
None of us could say it right.
Okay. RCOE Introduction to Business and Entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship. And RCOE Intermediate Business Ethics. Course meets A through G requirements. Next item, please. Is an information item also, 13.5, Business Revolving Cash Report for the month of June 2021. Next, please. 13.6 is also an information item, Business Revolving Cash Report for July 2021. 13.7 is an information item also, Board Policies, Students, Series 5000. (13.8) is an information item, Board Policies, Instruction, Series 6000. A closed section if necessary, 14.1.
Not necessary, Dr.
Not
Rose.
necessary today, okay, thank you. The next item is not applicable, reconvene in public session. 16.1 is an action item, discipline, reinstatement of student discipline matters. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Trustee Nelson,
Second.
Trustee Dr. Freeman. Any questions or comments regarding discipline matters?
Sorry, I wasn't expecting a whole bunch of discipline matters, considering we've been online for quite a while. But were these at the end of last year, or are these since the beginning of this school year? What summer school? I mean, if you guys can give me some information, I'm
These are reinstatements. So
reinstatements.
the kids
Okay.
that were expelled previously went to the continuation school. Some of them may have extended if they were there and doing distance learning and being successful. We allowed them to stay because we didn't want chaotic movement for them. And so you're allowed, they've completed all the terms of their expulsion, and we're happy to greet them and give them a fresh start welcome them home. And that's all you're doing is moving for them to return.
Okay, thank you for the information.
Thank you for the question, Trustee Nelson, and thank you for answering, Mr. Brough. Any other questions? Okay, we are going to proceed to vote. Trustee Vallejo,
Aye.
Trustee Nelson,
Aye.
Trustee Dr. Freeman,
Aye.
Trustee Stafford,
Aye.
and Trustee Araux, aye. Let's vote electronically. And upon a roll call vote being taken, the vote was 5-0. The next item. Other items by the superintendent, 17.1, Mr. Bennett?
Just two things I wanted to touch on. One is, we're looking like we may need to have a special board meeting with a closed session to look at how we're going to negotiate with our union members, looking for direction from the board. The reason we're saying we need to look at a special meeting is the closing of the books with all the changes that have been happening constantly. Candace and Alicia will have that done about the 28th of August. So we're looking for like a September 1st special board meeting. We thought we'd maybe have it down at Liberty and be able to do our closed session, give everybody a tour of what the school looks like at that time, if that's okay with the board.
It would be okay with me.
Okay.
Trustee Stafford?
Yeah, that's okay with me.
Yeah, it's a Wednesday.
It's a Wednesday. Okay, sounds good.
Great.
Thank you. Let us know.
So that was the first thing. And the second thing I just wanted to find out, is there anything that the board would like us to bring back at the meeting in the middle of September, that more information that you would need? Or
Okay. Okay. Trustee Stafford, do you have any items that you would like to?
I just need information on enrollment, what's our current enrollment, and I think even with the presentations, we didn't really address that. And
we'll put that in the weekly update. It'll come out.
Oh, okay. So there are just some minor questions that, Grant, I can call you. I'll call you, and you can inform the other board members if we feel it's needed.
Okay, very good.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you, Trustee Stafford. Trustee Vallejo?
Can I just get updates more on like the social workers' progress and just any other implementations that you guys are thinking of? I would love to know about that.
We'll get that into this weekly update also.
Trustee Nelson? Thank
Nothing
you,
for me
Trustee
right now.
Vallejo.
Thank you.
Trustee Dr. Freeman?
Nothing for me.
Okay. If you can, from my part, a decision on the request from the parent regarding a plan to provide the information of what is happening at the district level in terms of COVID and at the individual site levels, with following all the privacy laws, right, that we know. But it would be important. So we have an idea of the magnitude of the issue, because we know from the public, from at the county level, how many cases and things like that, people infected in the hospital and people who have died. But we would like to know how that is affecting our district, if that would be possible, and if that is on the website and for every school and at the district-wide also. Yeah. And the other thing is, we understand that there are we have some parents asking to keep the masks, right? They have been in social media, some comments, and we respect the different perspectives that our constituents have, that they don't agree, and that is very respectful. We respect that. Are there any options for the students and the parents that do not want to come to school and wear the mask? Do we have anything online for them?
We have our SOLA program over at Paris Lake.
The solar?
SOLA.
Oh, the SOL?
That we opened about 3 years ago, this online class.
Okay,
School,
okay.
so we have that available. And we've had people take advantage of that. I think we've had about 90 kids last year in the program. Now we're like 150, I think, 220.
23? Oh, okay. Oh, 223. 223.
And that also relates to AB 130, that
Okay.
gives them that option.
The option for that.
In addition, Ms. Escobar, our nurse, and with both team and all the work Ms. Raines, she has done, there's an opt-out for medical reasons.
Yes.
Of course, we want to recognize those, so there's a form for that, and the nurses are very responsible.
Trustee Stafford?
I'm sorry, I left one thing out. Grant, are we going to get involved if they authorize the shot?
Yes, I spoke about that in my report earlier, that we had 7 vaccination clinics previously. Now we're going to be having them at each school site.
Oh, okay.
So we'll have it available. Maybe not the real small schools, but at the bigger schools, we'll have a clinic set up for that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Thank you.
And the other thing that I was thinking, if you can provide, and I don't know if that information is going to be ready for the next meeting. As you know, there is the Governor Newsom, the
The mandate,
state
yeah.
of California is mandating that all public school employees, teachers, and all staff members be vaccinated or be tested twice a week.
Yeah.
Did we already negotiate that, or is being negotiated? I know we have until October 15th,
Yeah.
right, to implement that. And I don't know if you can share anything at this time, or do we need to wait for closed session?
That mandate does not fall under the mandatory subject of bargaining, but the effects would.
Exactly.
And so we started talking with actually CSCA recently and MPEA, and we've spoken with both of them about the mandate. And they understand the mandate. They understand that it's not a district-wide thing, it's a statewide thing. And they understand the requirement of it. And even as recently as yesterday with CSCA, they're like, we'd like to look at it a little bit more, talk about the impacts. But we gave them kind of as our partners, we gave them an overview of what it might look like in the Parish Union High School District and how that might impact employees. And so now they're kind of thinking about it and saying, okay, we'll come back together, we'll come back later this month and talk more about it.
If I just can clarify, when we talk about the effects, there was an article, a legal brief, I think, and I saw it yesterday, exactly what you said. But it was not clear to me, is the effects of the implementation of the lack of compliance, or what is what we mean with effects?
Oh, very good. So it's not regarding the implementation. The implementation itself is a mandate.
Yeah.
So we're required to do that, right? But there may be, in terms of the impacts, it may be if we're using our staff to do some of the testing, for example, they may say, okay, well, our staff needs this training. That would be an example of an impact, right? If it affects their workday in some way, shape, or form, where they may have to travel to get testing or something like that, and they may say, okay, you're only doing the testing at this location, so we would expect mileage. I'm just throwing that out there as a possible effect that we would be talking about. It's those types of things.
Because in terms of the time during working hours or things like that, all of our employees, all of our staff members have until September 30, and they have 10 days, right? Is September 30 for COVID related? Go and get tested, effects that they might have, and things like that?
Yeah, so that's the SIPSO, the Supplemental Paid Sick Leave
Uh-huh.
that came out, and that does expire on September 30th, and there are
Okay.
total days that they have, and that can be taken in fractional days.
Okay.
And there's a number of things that individuals can use for that. So,
Uh-huh.
for a perfect example is if an employee is out because they have COVID, then they may utilize that,
Mhm.
and it's supplemental because it's beyond any sick leave. that they
Exactly.
have on the books. But you're correct, that does expire on September 30th.
Okay, okay. All right, thank you for, I was wondering about what was the meaning of the effects. Yeah, okay, thank you. That would be it from me, and I think everybody mentioned that. Okay, so we are going to go to the next item, 18.1, other items by the Board of Trustees. Trustee Vallejo?
Yeah, I just wanted to just encourage everyone and everyone here to encourage others to have everyone to get vaccinated and please wear their masks. I'm glad that we're going to have more clinics, so that's what I'm very excited about. But yeah, we really just seeing like the rise of the COVID cases that we have that has risen. I did not like it, and I don't want to go back to tragedy and just go back to where we weren't feeling well. So please, yeah, encourage others, your family members who still haven't, or people that you know. I know I still tell everyone, but please, yeah, that's something that I really, really want to push forward. But other than that, I had a great meeting. Thank you for everyone that presented. That was really great. Thank you for explaining it really easy for me too. So that's what I really appreciate. But yeah, that was it. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Vallejo. Trustee Nelson?
Nothing really for me, except wish everybody a good year of school and getting back into the flow. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Trustee Dr. Freeman?
Nothing for me, sir.
Thank you, sir. Trustee Stafford?
Just everyone be well, take your shots, and glad to have you back. I'll see you next meeting.
Thank you,
I'm just
Trustee.
just following the protocols.
Thank you, Trustee Stafford. And I just want to say ditto to everybody, all the board members. And I wish all the Perris Union High School District, staff, parents, and students a wonderful 21-22 school year. Thank you. Okay, so we go to our next item, please. Okay, it's the last action item, and it's adjournment, 19.1.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
First motion, Trustee Dr. Freeman, second is Trustee Nelson. Okay, we are going to vote. Trustee Vallejo, I'm sorry.
That's a false start, I guess.
Trustee Vallejo, okay. Trustee Nelson.
Aye.
Trustee Dr. Freeman.
Aye.
And Trustee Stafford.
Aye.
And Trustee Arauz, aye. Let's vote electronically. And upon a roll call vote being taken, the vote was 5-0. And the regular board meeting of the Perris Union High School District is adjourned at 7:33 p.m. Thank you, everybody. Good night.